What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's been a minute since the last time I actually posted something, but back into it. We had a couple of things happening this week, and let's get into the highlights of what actually transpired the whole of this week and uh, see the response to them. One of them is obviously Kenyans discovering that Beyonce used a Kikuyu market voice of women trying to argue about different things in her song. We'll get to look at that. The other thing is, God damn it, this thing does not really feel like going away. COVID-19 is now back again and it's spreading so fast in Australia. At this particular moment, I think COVID-19 feels like that one particular ex who really doesn't feel like moving on. They're just stuck there in a limbo. Tuko na wewe, we're not going anywhere. Anyway, that's another thing. We need to look at that. Putin, the president of Russia, had his aircraft or helicopter attacked by Ukrainian drones. Well, that could have ended badly, but we'll look at that too. And if you think you're having a bad time, just think of a situation whereby you sank a 5,000 ton warship worth $500 million for a country that is being ruled by a dictator and known for even having killed his own brother or stepbrother. We'll get to see what happened. Well, let's start by the first thing. I wanted to start with the political things happening around the world, but let's start with what is happening in Kenya. So, we, the people of Kenya, actually recently just discovered that there's a song by Beyonce where they are actually playing they're actually playing Kenyan sounds in the song, and someone took his own time to actually decipher the whole thing and share with us the raw clip of what happens before it was actually edited. Just a minute, I bring that up. I found it really interesting that all along when I've been listening to this song, something felt off. Yeah, something felt. We are used to American artists using African sounds, ever since they took away the word Hakuna Matata, they've just been using African sounds, African voices on different things or multiple things that they use for profit. And we are never concerned about that. I mean, it basically helps us spread the culture, kill the notion that in Africa we live with animals, etc. So this is the sound that is in the Beyonce's track, is in Beyonce's track. So this is the raw file. You've heard it? All right. Okay. Now let's listen to the actual song. Hey. We have all heard that song, and I know probably you have heard it, probably you have not heard it, but if you really know Kikuyu to some extent, you could have heard something. Yeah, listen to this one more time, and then we'll listen to the other one. Just a quick comparison. Up to that point, and then there's this. You hear it now, right? Well, that is that, and people are now saying that because that's the sound of women in the market talking about being angry, and someone talking about being not body shamed, but being called names because of her body, and she doesn't really find it that offensive. Let's see what happens. It's a very interesting twist that After listening to it over and over and seeing someone bring it up on TikTok, I was like, so I was never wrong when I thought I actually heard some Kikuyu in the song. Well, that is that. We do hope that they get compensated. Now, back to international news. There's something that really does not seem as if it wants to move on. In life, we all have that one person, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's a family, etc., that really doesn't want to move on. They keep on coming back over and over and over again. And at this moment, I feel like COVID is one of those exes who really does not want to move on. Yeah? Because it just feels like yesterday when we were suffering from all these effects of COVID, the economy is plummeting, people suffering from layoffs of jobs, etc. And we have always been hearing of cases popping up. We had cases of monkeypox popping up. Some countries even started curfews, lockdowns, social distancing because of this whole thing. And then it vanished. COVID kept on coming back. They said a new variant is out, etc. But now in Australia, and I don't know why, it's always these countries that do weird things or have weird animals and etc. that have these kind of things. We had China. We know China for being a little bit weird with some of the things that they do. And now we actually have Australia. And for those who are conspiracy theorists, they spread the word that the COVID that originated from China came from bats. You remember that story? That is for the conspiracy theorists. Now, coming to think of it, if that was true, we all know that COVID was lab manufactured. So for those who will be in the comment section like, oh no, it was lab manufactured and all that. Yeah, I know that. I'm just talking about the conspiracy theorists. If that was the case, and we know Australia for having one of the most bizarre animals out there, if you really need to see one of the most weirdest animals, let's go to Australia. And this is what is happening right now. These guys just decided, you know what? We are not yet tired of having all these problems in the world. Let's bring back a problem that almost ended the entire population. And let's watch this first.
Authorities have issued a warning. It's time to pay attention to COVID again. A new variant has reached Australia and it's proving more infectious than others. Experts are right now testing whether current vaccines work against it, but case numbers are already rising.
In scenes reminiscent of 2020, Australia again facing a COVID scare.
It is time to pay attention to COVID again and make sure we've got all of our measures.
No, wait a minute. I always feel like if COVID came back to Africa and they said, oh, we found a new variant of COVID in Africa, we should all isolate ourselves, social distance, etc. One thing I like Africans for is that they will actually make you eat your own words or shove that syringe of vaccines up your, Let's listen.
It's in place to be prepared.
The culprit, a new subvariant of Omicron, NB181, under monitoring by the World Health Organization. It was first detected in a sample collected earlier this year. Internationally, it accounts for 10% of submitted sequences. Now it's the most dominant variant in Perth wastewater samples. NB181 makes up 40% of cases in Victoria, 10% in South Australia. In Queensland, 39 cases have been detected since February.
It does seem to be spreading quite rapidly. It does seem to be accounting for an increase in cases.
Come on, man. I think by now we're just tired. People are really struggling to get back to their feet from the effects of COVID. And remember, this happened 5 years ago. And we're still feeling the effects up to now. And there's scientific, analytical reporting that these effects might continue even up to like 2030 because the implications, the effects that it had were drastic, they were deep. So coming back and starting to talk about COVID again, at this moment, it doesn't matter what you bring. We have seen it all. We have seen wars. We have seen tariff hikes by Trump. we've basically seen it all. There's nothing that is going to scare people around the world to make them want to isolate again. At this moment, if poverty and hunger does not kill people first, I don't think COVID will. That's all I have to say. If people don't die out of poverty and hunger and war, then COVID is just a minor thing right now. That's my take. Let me know what you think about it. But as we talk about things showing up unwanted and catastrophes around the world, one of the catastrophes that almost happened was Putin's helicopter was attacked by drones, supposedly or allegedly attacked by drones sent by Ukrainians. At this moment, I don't think people understand. We have seen the war between Russia and Ukraine, and we really hope that it comes to an end, because there's a lot of civilian casualties involved in this who really don't need to participate. All this is just political, over a piece of land, over borders, and etc., over people leaving the Soviet Union, you know. But when it gets to the point of attempted assassinations of a president like Putin, for example, Russia is known for being, for reaching out way too far than people expect. And the second that Putin landed in, let me just get the name of the place. They were somewhere, and that problem occurred. And I feel like at this point, people should just, just fight. Let them fight their own wars. Let them reclaim whatever land they want to reclaim and leave people alone, the civilians. But when Putin went to launch something and celebrate Veterans Day somewhere in Russia, a Ukrainian drone apparently tried to step in between the flight path that the presidential helicopter was supposed to take. Now, this was intercepted early and neutralized. But you can imagine what could have happened if the drone was not detected and it actually managed to hit the presidential helicopter. That would have turned out into a whole other level of war. Yeah. And as if that was not enough, having neutralized the drone, Russia unleashed hell on Ukraine. Within the very same night, about 15 places were hit by long-range missiles from Russia. This is in a bid to let them know that if you come at us, we come at you even harder than you thought we would. Well, Putin, being the dictator he is, having all these wars, from Trump calling him an insane person for not trying to cease fire. We have a few people who are insane in the world, yeah? We know Russia for being one of those, but if there's a place that we know or is famous for its dictatorial standing, positioning, etc., it's not China, it's North Korea. Okay? Now, we talk about COVID, we talk about so many things. Now, think of this. You think you're in a bad position. How about if you're in a position whereby you have been given the liberty and the responsibility to take care of a 5,000-ton warship worth $500 million, $500 million, for a country that is really struggling economically, okay? Because what people don't know about this is North Korea is really struggling economically. Most countries have actually sanctioned their trades between North Korea and themselves. The United Nations has actually set up sanctions for North Korea. And we know North Korea for carrying out a lot of illegal activities. And one of the people who will actually let you know that you should never mess with North Korea is none other than Sony Entertainment. Remember this incident that happened at Sony Entertainment? What year was it? Was it 2010 or something? When Sony was hit by hackers from North Korea because they wanted to launch a movie titled The Dictator with North Korea's president Kim Jong-un as the bad guy in the movie. And they were given multiple chances to withdraw and not air the movie, but they did not listen. They basically went on with it. Now, someone in the North Korean military was given custody of a 5,000-ton, $500 million warship. And it was broadcasted around the world, with North Korea trying to show its might. We have seen that with them showing us their rockets and all that. Now imagine with someone who even killed his own stepbrother, trusting you with this, and then you end up sinking the entire ship in front of him on the launch day. So it's been known that it's quite uncommon for North Korean public to, or the North Korean government to publicly disclose any local incident or any mishaps that happen in the country. Yeah. So at this particular time, Mr. Ri, who is part of the Central Military Commission at the highest level official, is the highest level official arrested over the incident so far. The commission commands the Korean People's Army and is responsible for developing and implementing Korea's military policies. Over the weekend, Pyongyang also detained 3 officials at the North Korean Chongjin shipyard, where the destroyer was built and where its launch failed. So the destroyer at this point is the warship that they're calling the destroyer, and it was built at Pyongyang. And the people involved in making the warship were also detained. Well, speak of having a bad day and a bad time. This is one of those countries that you really don't want to get on their bad side, because if you do, trust you me, you'll live to tell the story or you'll never be seen again. Well, that's it for what happened this week. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to follow if you're watching this on social media. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, and share with friends and family. Leave a comment, tell us what you think. Also share with us any kind of information that we might have left out. With all that said, have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.